Christianity. It's been around for a while now, wouldn't you say? Like, longer than Crocs, longer than the letter J, longer even than the concept of a weekend. These are 10 countries where just whispering the word Jesus can get you a whole heap of trouble. Ah, North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom, the land that time forgot. In the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, there's really only room for one deity, and spoiler alert, it ain't the guy who died for your sins. Practicing their faith is a one-way ticket to a labor camp, or worse. Tens of thousands of Christians live like this, their faith a dangerous secret in a country that demands absolute obedience. Remember Afghanistan in, say, 2001? Yeah, me neither. After the Taliban decided to stage a comeback tour in 2021, things got real bad, real fast. If you're thinking of switching teams from Islam to Christianity in Afghanistan, be prepared to face the ultimate consequence, a one-way ticket to meet your maker. Most who could flee, did. For those who remain, many of whom are converts from Islam, life is a terrifying game of hide and seek. Somalia, land of scorching sun, pristine beaches, and a government that's about as welcoming to Christians as a nudist colony is to a porcupine. In Somalia, Islam isn't just the main religion, it's the only game in town. Al-Shabaab, known for bombing churches and kidnapping Christians, makes life a perpetual game of religious hide-and-seek. In Somalia, Christianity exists in the shadows, whispered in hushed tones, a flickering candle in a hurricane of intolerance. Nigeria, a land of vibrant cultures, delicious jollof rice, and a rich tapestry of traditions that span centuries. From the bustling markets to the serene landscapes, Nigeria is a country that captivates the senses and the soul. Yet beneath this vibrant exterior lies a horrifyingly high tolerance for violence against Christians. The streets that once echoed with laughter and music now resonate with cries for help and prayers for peace. Nigeria is a bit of a religious melting pot, where mosques and churches often stand side by side, and interfaith gatherings are not uncommon. This diversity should be a source of strength, but it has also become a flashpoint for conflict. Lately, it's the Christians who have been on the receiving end of a whole lot of unwanted attention. From peaceful prayers in churches to community meetings, their daily lives are overshadowed by a looming threat. Boko Haram and ISWAP are responsible for kidnappings, tearing families apart and leaving communities in disarray. These militant groups have unleashed a reign of terror that shows no signs of abating. Bombings and massacres have become all too common, turning once thriving neighborhoods into war zones. The aftermath of these attacks leaves a trail of destruction and a community struggling to rebuild. Local governments and communities often get in on the act, discriminating against Christians. This systemic bias exacerbates the already dire situation, making it difficult for Christians to find justice or protection. Nigerian Christians live with a target on their backs, fearing for their safety and the safety of their families. The constant threat of violence forces many into hiding, and the psychological toll is immeasurable. Their very right to exist is under siege. Refugees flee their homes in search of safety, while those who remain pray for a semblance of normalcy. The Christian community in Nigeria is resilient, but their struggle is far from over. Pakistan, land of the pure, unless you're Christian. In Pakistan, blasphemy is a big no-no. These laws are used to target Christians and other religious minorities with zeal. The government often holds the hammer, leading to a constant state of fear for Pakistani Christians. They are denied jobs, education, and basic human rights, all because of their faith. Iran, land of ancient history, beautiful Persian rugs, and a culture that dates back thousands of years. From the bustling markets filled with vibrant colors and intricate designs, to the awe-inspiring historic sites that tell tales of empires long gone, Iran is a country rich in heritage. But beneath this veneer of cultural splendor lies a government that's about as tolerant of Christianity as a vampire is of garlic bread. The Islamic Republic of Iran has a strict stance on religious conversion, particularly when it comes to Christianity. In the Islamic Republic of Iran, switching sides is about as welcome as a bacon sandwich at a vegan picnic. The state religion is Islam, and any deviation from this is met with severe consequences. The government views conversion to Christianity as a betrayal, a direct challenge to their authority and the religious fabric of the nation. Converting to Christianity is seen as a direct attack on their authority. We're talking arrest, imprisonment, and even torture. The Iranian authorities do not take kindly to those who choose to follow a different faith. The repercussions are severe and swift, with many converts finding themselves behind bars, subjected to harsh treatment, and facing long sentences. The whole 9 yards of religious persecution. House churches, where Christians gather in secret to worship, are constantly monitored and raided. These small clandestine gatherings are a lifeline for many believers, but they come with immense risk. These house churches are shut down faster than a Starbucks in a power outage. The Iranian authorities are relentless in their efforts to stamp out any form of Christian worship. Raids are frequent, and those caught participating in these gatherings face severe penalties. The courage of these individuals, who risk everything for their faith, is both inspiring and heartbreaking. Despite the dangers, the Christian community in Iran continues to grow, driven by a deep sense of faith and resilience. International human rights organizations have repeatedly called for an end to the persecution, but the situation remains dire. The global community watches, hoping for change, but for now, converting to Christianity in Iran remains a perilous path. Eritrea, the North Korea of Africa. Yes, it's that bad. Eritrea has a one-party system, mandatory military service, and a policy on religious freedom that can be summed up as my way or the highway to prison. Eritrea recognizes 4 religions, but practicing any other religion or converting is met with severe punishment. Arbitrary arrest, detention without trial, and torture are common. It's enough to make you want to convert to agnosticism, just to be on the safe side. Saudi Arabia, land of vast deserts, unimaginable oil wealth, and a religious tolerance policy that makes the Taliban look like a bunch of open-minded hippies. In Saudi Arabia, Islam isn't just the dominant religion, it's the law of the land. Converting from Islam to Christianity is considered apostasy, a capital offense. There are no churches, no public displays of faith, and certainly no Christmas carols blasting from the minarets. Simply being a Christian in Saudi Arabia is a risky proposition. India, land of diversity, unless you're a Christian convert. India is a diverse country, but there's been a disturbing rise in violence and discrimination against Christians. Hindu extremist groups target Christians with zeal. Attacks on churches, violence against pastors, and forced conversions back to Hinduism are common. The government often turns a blind eye to the violence, downplaying the severity of the situation. China, land of the Great Wall. Delicious dumplings, and a government that's about as tolerant of religion as a cat is of a bath. In China, religion is like a game of whack-a-mole. Christians are being whacked left, right, and center, their churches demolished, their pastors imprisoned, and their faith driven underground. The only acceptable religions are the ones the government has personally sanctioned. Secret church services are held in basements and back rooms, with pastors disappearing into the prison system. A prayer for freedom. In a world where the right to worship freely is often taken for granted, there are countless individuals who face unimaginable hardships simply for practicing their faith. This chapter is dedicated to them, to their resilience, and to their unwavering spirit. The persecution of Christians is a global crisis, a stain on the conscience of humanity. From the Middle East to parts of Africa and Asia, millions of Christians live under the constant threat of violence, discrimination, and oppression. They are targeted for their beliefs, their places of worship are attacked, and their communities are torn apart. It's time for the international community to wake up, to speak out, and to demand better. We must not turn a blind eye to the suffering of our fellow human beings. Global leaders, policymakers, and citizens alike have a moral obligation to address this crisis. We must advocate for policies that protect religious freedom and hold accountable those who perpetrate these injustices. We must be a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope in a world that seems increasingly determined to extinguish it. Through peaceful protests, vigils, and advocacy, we can raise awareness and push for change. Every candle lit in a vigil, every step taken in a march, and every word spoken in defense of religious freedom adds to the collective effort to bring about justice. Governments, international organizations, and individuals must stand in solidarity with those who suffer for their religious beliefs and work toward ensuring that the right to worship freely is respected around the world. This is not just a fight for Christians, it is a fight for all who believe in the fundamental human right to practice one's faith without fear. Together, we can create a world where freedom of religion is not just an ideal, but a reality for everyone.